Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Mitch. Good Saturday morning to you all. I hope you guys are doing great out there this morning and having a wonderful start to your day and a great beginning to your new weekend out there so far. Here to bring you the latest information on many things in this morning's video. The first thing we will speak on is the tropics, and I know, folks, you guys are probably sick of hearing about the tropics, and trust me, guys, I'm pretty tired of talking about the tropics, but technically it is still hurricane season. And unfortunately, we have another area to watch in the Caribbean. The National Hurricane Center has not dubbed an area of interest out of this, but I have a feeling it will over the next couple days, maybe sometime today. And that area to watch is the Caribbean, as some energy could get in this area and develop once again pretty much in the same area where Rafael started, which we still have Tropical Storm Rafael out here in the Gulf of Mexico right at this moment, but is in the process of slowly weakening. So we'll give you all the latest info that we have from overnight into this morning as far as model guidance. We'll talk about the environment background that does support another tropical system once again over the next several days. After we get done doing that, we will speak on the potential for a pattern change as we move over the next maybe 7 to 10 days, maybe a little bit further out. I know I typically don't go past the day 10 mark, but I'm going to probably break those rules a little bit in this video and really speak on closer to Thanksgiving. I'm watching a time frame where we could switch some things up in the eastern U.S. and get some colder weather, maybe some snow. I don't want to speak too heavily on it as far as details because I don't want to cause any confusion. Sometimes people watch stuff and then immediately put in their mind that that's exactly what's going to happen, but we're going to speak on a little bit, and we will continue to speak on that if this continues to show up. After we get done doing that, we will speak on the weather for your Saturday and break it down area by area, as there is a high risk for flash flooding in the state of Louisiana for today that we definitely need to speak on. So if you guys have not subscribed, certainly consider doing that. Like the video if you like it, and if anybody has anything that I can pray about or pray over, please put it in the comments below. So let's get rocking this morning. So this is the Gulf of Mexico, the Caribbean. Rafael right here still looks like a pretty impressive tropical storm. It's actually not a hurricane anymore, just a tropical storm, but sort of just chilling in one area here in the Gulf of Mexico. It's pretty rare, I would say, to have a tropical system sneak into the Gulf of Mexico and not hit anybody. But this really does look like it's just going to completely dissipate. If it does make a technical landfall on the Gulf coastline or wherever, it's pretty much going to be completely dissipated and weaken into a very weak low pressure. So we're not going to speak much more on that. I am watching this area as some energy tries to sneak into this area right here. It could kind of linger. Let's just call it energy, could sneak into the Caribbean and then eventually develop into a tropical cyclone, maybe somewhere into this area once again, which is exactly where Rafael kind of got going. Now, kind of the origins of Rafael started a little bit further south, but this general area is what we need to watch once again. Okay, so that's what we're going to speak on the most in this update from the tropics. But I will kind of just give you an update on Rafael. It's a 65-mile-per-hour tropical storm. We're still watching this little area of interest, but we're not really expecting anything out of this. What I want to watch for, let's see if we have a new update. What I want to watch for over the next few updates from the National Hurricane Center is for something in yellow to show up right here. They might issue kind of a 20 to 30% chance of tropical development in this yellow area right here over the next 7 days in the next few updates. I want to watch for that from the National Hurricane Center. I have a feeling by tomorrow morning's video or Monday morning's video, we will be showing you guys that. That is my prediction, so we'll see if I'm right there. But continuing to move forward here, and don't focus too much on the Gulf right now. Let's keep our eyes down here in the Caribbean. So we're going to start this for Monday morning. We're going to get into Tuesday morning. We're going to get into Wednesday morning, the 13th of November. And we're starting to, get a lot of green, some splotches of yellow and red and orange down here. A low pressure starting to develop. And it kind of dances around down here. Nothing fully gets going. And then by Friday morning of next week, the 15th, it does develop a tropical storm, but immediately pushes it into some portion of Central America. Let's not get exact with the countries or anything like that. Let's just say Central America. Friday evening as a tropical storm, and of course, with land interaction, would probably weaken into whatever at that point, right? So that's the latest GFS. That's definitely different than the last 24 to 48 hours worth of GFS runs. where it had something developing down here and then cruising it north and doing some wild stuff into the southeast and off the coast of the eastern U.S. The latest GFS from this morning develops a quick tropical storm late next work week, and then immediately pushes it in to Central America as a tropical storm. Okay. What about the Euro? Monday morning, once again, we got lowering pressure down here in the Caribbean. We're getting into Tuesday. We're getting into Wednesday. There's that low, that L popping off down here just southwest of Jamaica. And then we get into Thursday. It's still down there, kind of in the same area as the GFS. We get into Friday. It doesn't really show up anymore, but there's still energy down here in the Caribbean. And then we get into Sunday. Here it is showing up again. And you just kind of continue to just get some energy down here. Nothing really ever fully develops, but there's a lot of energy down here. What about the Euro AI model, which has done well? I'm going to be interested to I'm going to be excited and definitely just excited to see what the Euro AI model and how well it does during winter. That's for sure. It's done pretty well there for the tropics. But Wednesday evening, you got a low pressure developing down here, and it actually deepens a little bit and does exactly what the GFS does pretty much. Late next work week, next Thursday, pushes a weak tropical storm into Central America and sort of gets back off the coast of Central America, but does almost exactly what the GFS does and just throws a lot of tropical moisture into Central America, okay? But does develop something. Got a sneeze coming. All right, I think it went away. All right, we're good. The Canadian model, we'll just start off right for Friday morning. Develops a tropical cyclone down here. Not very strong at first, and then we get into Saturday. It kind of just stalls it out down here deep in the Caribbean Saturday morning, and then develops into a tropical storm, and then pushes it into Central America next weekend, and then that's all she wrote, okay? Icon, all right, about 120 hours out next Wednesday night, does develop a tropical cyclone right here in the middle of the Caribbean. Now, if we back it up and look at the OOZ run, see what it shows here. There it is, developing it. Okay, gets all the way to a tropical storm, and then gets it, into a stronger tropical storm right here in the middle of the Caribbean. So you might think, well, Mitch, why are you showing us this? You know, most of your audience is not in the Caribbean. I do got viewers from Jamaica, in areas of the Caribbean. So I do want to show you guys this, and sometimes these tropical systems gets pulled north. And I think just because most model guidance is now showing, as far as operational runs, just get kind of chilling in the Caribbean, that doesn't mean that we get a trend where this all of a sudden starts to move north, because climatology, as far as this time of the year in November, likes to pull these tropical systems out of the Caribbean and to the southwest Atlantic, okay, right here into this area. So we need to continue to watch this. Now, as far as the ensembles, latest from this morning, Wednesday morning of next week, there's already a stout signal for a tropical system developing. You got many members down here forming something, and then these members get stronger, the ones that do form, and then they kind of cluster up, and some of them do move it right into Central America. Some of these members develop into a hurricane, okay? And then some members do start to kind of move north right into here next weekend. And, that's when we need to watch Jamaica, Cuba again. And some of these members completely escape north, like this one lone member wants to, get between Florida and Cuba. So we need to watch this. This is a pretty stout signal for another tropical system by late next work week into next weekend. And, the EPS, which is typically conservative, shows a pretty solid signal all the way in Wednesday morning. Most of these members are weak, okay, but there's still a lowered pressure down here. And we get into next Thursday, and some of these members begin to strengthen, and it's a decent, I would say, moderate signal for a tropical system developing. And then, the members that do develop, some of them get quite strong, and then they kind of split off. Some of them head towards Central America, some just kind of chill here in the West Central Caribbean. Some of them go north. So this is definitely a signal to watch for sure. And I would say the environment favors tropical development. The sea surface temperature is still in the 80s down here. And the upper wind pattern, winds, 35, 40,000 feet up in the air. Say you get a tropical system that develops, right here. Okay. It's rotating cyclonically like this, right? Well, above this tropical system, like above the actual low to mid-level cyclonic spin of this system, the air is rotating like this, midway next work week. So what does that do? Well, that helps to disperse air in the upper levels of the atmosphere above the system outward. Divergence aloft. This allows for more air to rise, and then that gets pushed outward. So there's an environment down here that supports rising air. Rising air allows for shower and storm activity, which means you're going to have a moist environment for this tropical system to work with. Therefore, you can get a tropical system. Even in mid-November. So the environment certainly supports it. A full-fledged, what we call ULAC, could develop on top of this area, which is what we call an upper-level anticyclone. So pretty wild stuff, folks. But moving ahead past the tropics, we want to talk about this pattern coming up. So you're going to look at the Climate Prediction Center. For example, this is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. This was issued yesterday. Between the 14th and the 18th of November, solid chance of above average temperatures in the middle of the country and the eastern U.S. Okay, just think the red, above average temperatures, the blue, below average temperatures are likely. In that same time frame, it does favor a lot of precipitation. Not a lot, but a chance for above average precipitation across the west and the middle of the country. Could get kind of dry again, the southeast, but hopefully I think for you folks that are dealing with a nasty drought along the I-95 corridor from the mid-Atlantic to southern New England, I do think you have rain opportunities on the way. I do. If you back this up and you look at the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, 16th through the 22nd, above average temperatures still predicted for the central and eastern U.S. But I really think closer to the 20th to the 22nd, this could change a little bit. I think as we get closer, not next weekend, but the weekend after, the weekend before Thanksgiving, I really think some changes to this could occur. I'll talk about why here in a second. As far as precipitation, it looks like, for the most part, the chances for above average precipitation is there for just about the entire country. Not everybody, some just near normal, but nobody looks overly dry. And I'll even show you this. I wasn't really, going to show you this, but it looks like you start to moderate as far as the south, which has been pretty warm lately. It's showing above average temperatures for this area up here, but listen, this is 3 to 4 weeks. This could change. Okay. Now, this is the part that kind of confuses people, I'm sure. But the warmer colors you see on your screen, the salmon color, the red, oranges, that's ridging, high pressure. Okay, the blue, that is low pressure. High pressure associated with sinking air, typically warmer than average temperatures. A lot of times, quieter conditions, above average temperatures, etc. Okay, the blue, lower pressure, typically has some sort of cold front associated with it, unsettled weather. Okay. So we'll fast forward to midway next week, Wednesday morning, the 13th, right? Ridge flexing over the eastern U.S. The red colors on your screen does not always tell the story. Okay, remember, this is the pattern in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So I'll just leave it at that for now. We'll talk about that more when we need to. I will say there is going to be a little trough that does try to I would say it probably comes in late next work week and into next weekend. This trough could amplify. Okay, and there is some chatter about a negative NAO, which we'll dive into when we need to. It's blocking up in Greenland. This helps to dislodge cold air to the lower 48. Like I said, we'll speak more on that when we need to. But this trough shows up. To me, this screams some sort of storm system in the eastern U.S. next week. Significant storm system, not quite sure. Okay, but this troughing hangs out over the eastern U.S. for a period. And then the pattern rebounds and we get another ridge that flexes probably at the end of next weekend, early next week. I'm talking about not like this coming work week, but the week after. Like we're starting to get about into the 9 to 10 day range now. Ridge moves in, but this is kind of a moving ridge. It doesn't stick around too long. By the time we start to get into, folks, we're pretty far out. I mean, we're like in the 20th to the 21st range. I am watching this. You see how this blue shows up here? And I know. We're over 300 hours out. Okay, trust me, I know. But I think that something around this time frame needs to be watched. As we're getting into the weekend before Thanksgiving. Something keeps showing up around this range, and I'll just leave it at that. It just shows blue, which tells me that there's some sort of trough in place, and there's going to be some sort of unsettled weather. I'm going to take a risk here, and I'm going to say that there's going to be a cold shot around the 20th through the 24th of November. Okay? That's going to be my guess. I think there's going to be one of the coldest shots we've seen this season. I think it might be enough to really kickstart some lake effect snows. Our first, maybe, I wouldn't say significant lake effect snow, but our heaviest lake effect snow event of the season. That is my long range prediction. That's not really a forecast. Just, guys, I like to kind of give my own take on things. But I'm also pulling for this selfishly, because I go to the mountains the 22nd through the 26th, right near the Smokies and Gatlinburg. So I'm hoping, I'm almost praying that for somehow we get some really early season snow in the mountains. And so I'm watching this for my own personal reasons too. But I want to watch this little time frame. Okay, I keep wanting to say the weekend before Thanksgiving. Okay, let's watch that time frame. Now, what is the GEFS showing? Okay, there's that little trough that shows up late next work week, okay, 14th through the 17th or so. Ridge builds back in. I really think the ridge will build in again, after next weekend. Kind of the work week before Thanksgiving, if that makes sense, okay? Ridge kind of hangs out for a while, okay? Then we get to the 20th, okay? You start to see, the warmer colors, the salmon colors, whatever color you want to call that, start to kind of go away. We're going to get some blue that shows up, and there it is. There's that blue showing. I know it's past 300 hours out, but I'm telling you, I'm watching something in this time frame. I am, and I don't know what it is. It might not end up being anything. The GEFS doesn't show as much of a trough in place. It shows a really crazy zonal flow, whatever that means. But you just got to see. I just want to watch this. So, as far as, storm system, the GFS, do not take anything I'm showing you here as a forecast, but the GFS does show some, I would say, some aggressive scenarios. It does show a system that could bring a little bit of rain sometime late next work week, maybe Wednesday night and the next Thursday or Friday in the Northeast. Could bring some snow in the higher elevations. Okay, that system could get going, could get cranking here. And then, we start to get in the next weekend, and that ridge builds in. So that's going to cause all your energy to go across the middle of the country. Okay. And then, what happens after that? Well, a big trough begins to do. Here comes another system. Could create a severe weather scenario. And then we get past the 10-day mark, and it does show a big aggressive trough digging out. This is about the fourth GFS run in a row that it showed this. Now, this comes in around the 20th, and it wants to show this big cold front that drops down, really gets the northwest flow snow going. It gets the lake effect snow machine going, and it really brings just a big. If this GFS, for example, was going to be right, this would bring a significant lake effect snow event for sometime in late November. So we're watching this. Just remember everything I just showed you, everything I just said. It's not a forecast, but I am really watching. I think we'll get a little cold front for the eastern U.S. and a storm system late next work week, no doubt. But I am watching just in that, I would say, 10 to 15 day range, I would say. Maybe 8 to 14 day range. So, anyways, as far as what's going to happen weather-wise for today, this is what's going on right now. Big storm system over the middle of the country. This upper low that's just brought epic snowfall totals across New Mexico, Colorado. I mean, even areas of like Oklahoma too, like extreme western Oklahoma. But this system is starting to eject across the middle of the country, bringing widespread rains across the plains, the Midwest. There's rain moving in. Little trough moved in across pretty aggressively across the Northeast. This has brought a weak cold front all the way down to the Carolinas. This will keep us into a nice November type air mass that we're supposed to be seeing this time of the year. But we're getting just a consistent moist flow across Louisiana. It's raining like crazy right now, and we do have a high risk of excessive rainfall In fact, we have flood watches down here. We continue to have winter storm warnings across eastern Colorado. These will probably begin to get dropped later today. Red flag warnings up for southern New England. We need to rain bad up here. And yeah, the risk of excessive rainfall, let's update this. Weather-wise said they made some changes. There it is. So, man, I'm telling you what, I know I'm promoting the heck out of these guys, but they've been awesome, and I think they deserve a lot of credit. And but I'm telling you guys, check out web.weatherwise.app. They have an app that you guys can download on your phone. I think it's going to be, I think already it is. It's one of the top-notch weather apps you can use that's free. And man, you could toggle through all these things. It's definitely a game changer for my channel. That's for sure. Especially when we're breaking down snowfall totals this winter. It takes so long to pull up the individual maps from the National Weather Service, folks. But I love doing it because I love getting detailed with you guys. And I think that, you guys appreciate that, I'm sure. But it's going to be so much easier with this site here. Now, I'm still kind of playing around with the font colors. So we'll try to make the town names a little bit more visible for people who are having a hard time seeing it. But let's zoom down here to Louisiana. Folks, there is a high risk of flooding in this area. So if you live in this pink area, Lake Charles to just south of Alexandria, this means you have a 70% chance of rainfall exceeding flash flood guidance. In the red area, it's a 40% chance. And in the yellow area, that is a 15% chance of that. So a lot of rain is definitely the storyline in the Deep South today, especially the western Deep South. So be aware of that. Any risk of severe weather? No, just a risk of thunderstorms today. That doesn't mean you can't get a severe thunderstorm or two out there, but just general risk of thunderstorms from Chicago all the way down to the Gulf Coast. And then let's take a look at the southeast. Now, we'll talk about Louisiana and the south central frame a little bit more. But as we're getting into about this afternoon, definitely a moist environment across the Deep South. Once you start to get into the Carolinas, high pressure starts to dominate your air mass. You just getting a nice fall-like day. You kind of lose the humidity. Cold front actually moved in this morning at my neck of the woods here in central South Carolina. We're going to continue to get a lot of rain across the Mississippi Valley area, and then the rain will really crank up. Just kind of more of I'm sure you're getting a boost of moisture off Raphael to your south in the Gulf of Mexico, but the rain could be a huge storyline in Louisiana today as it just continues to really just fall heavily. But we'll continue to move forward, just specifically talking about the southeast. I think for the most part, the southeast will be fine. Some humidity will creep back in later tonight, and you actually could wake up to some showers in Georgia. Look at all this rain that you're waking up to in Kentucky tomorrow morning. A lot of this rain will affect, I would say, western Tennessee overnight tonight. But anyways, moving into the northeast, a little bit some snow showers in northern Maine. But it'll be another dry day across the northeast. Not a whole lot to speak on. And then a system will try to move in as we're getting into Sunday. As you can see it moving in from the southwest. Ohio waking up to a lot of rain. Kentucky waking up to a lot of rain tomorrow morning. Especially western Ohio. Rain falling in Detroit, etc. But moving into the south central U.S., we could get a little break, I would say, this afternoon, but I wouldn't be surprised if they issue a marginal risk for southern Louisiana. In fact, let's see if they've upgraded anything in here. No, they have not. But I wouldn't be surprised if they put a marginal risk down here for southern Louisiana for later today. You see these little individual cells. You definitely want to be aware of those. Might could get a quick spin up with this. What I really am concerned about is all this rain that starts to fall across Louisiana today, even extreme southeast portions of Texas. This could add up very fast. I mean, 2 inch per hour rates. And this continues through the overnight hours all the way into tomorrow morning. And it's still raining very heavily across southeast Louisiana, even into tomorrow. So how much rain could fall? And not to ignore, my friends here in Colorado. I think the snow will taper off for Colorado later this afternoon for just about everybody. But just zooming back into Louisiana, for Lake Charles, they're going for 2.5, 3 inches of rain. Between Alexandria and Lake Charles, 4 to 5 inches of rain just over the next 24 hours, folks. So it's really just this area. I mean, if you live, I would say, Oakdale, Oberlin, Kinder, DeQuincy, Vinton, Elton. I mean, this entire area right here. You guys, please be aware of the excessive rainfall that you're going to get today. Up here in the north central U.S., just a rainy Saturday. We'll have some rainy, kind of dreary football games up here today for sure. Rain falling in southern sections of Minnesota. Just some light rain across the Dakotas today. Rain will try to enter the Chicago area later this evening. If you're out and about this evening and tonight in Chicago, bring an umbrella maybe. But the upper Midwest, some rain showers. You're supposed to be getting some snow this time of the year, but this will just be rain moving in late tonight. And then we're going to wake up tomorrow morning to a lot of rain falling across a good chunk of Indiana into western Ohio. Heavy rain down here in Louisville, Dayton, Cincinnati that you'll be waking up to for your Sunday morning. A little low right here in Iowa, southern Minnesota with some rain that you guys are getting. And just scattered showers just about everywhere else. Out west, system is moving into the Pacific Northwest. This will bring some rain showers, for the coastal range, the valleys of Washington and Oregon. Some of this rain will begin to move into extreme northern California. And then we're getting into tomorrow morning. Some of this rain could switch to snow in the higher elevations of the northern Rockies. Temperatures in the eastern U.S., it's chilly. It's a chilly day in the Northeast today, with that trough and cold front that's brought a shot of cold air. In fact, some areas in northern Maine might not get above freezing. And then the Great Lakes region, just a typical November day, temperatures in the 40s and 50s. Southeast, the Carolinas, Virginia will have a typical November type day. But once you start to get further west, like in the deep south, 70s and 80s, and then the western U.S., this is what we're looking at out here. God bless all y'all. Have a wonderful start to your weekend. I'll talk to you again Sunday morning.